This is certainly a very tough one for many people in this community, including reporters like myself. But the bottom line is there is a story here. We have a public figure who died after being at this hotel room yesterday afternoon.
This is the destination today. The Glendale Express Motel. For a story that has long fascinated me. And Los Angeles. A shocker for Los Angeles. Not a person known probably anywhere else.
Just talking with a couple of firefighters, and they're making this symbol, crossing their fingers today that they can hold the line. You can see in this big vat here, this is cold river water that they have been sucking up all night long.
Back when this incident happened, it was called a Days Inn, and now it's called the Glendale Express. They've gone to a lot of trouble to give it a hipper vibe, and I think they've done some of the rooms over a bit. Certainly the lobby, and they sell kind of kitschy souvenirs, and they have records and record players, and well, not record players in the room, but records down in the lobby. No, I really liked the place, and it was reasonable, and it was safe, and when we checked in, the gentleman behind the counter gave us a key to room 608, much to my surprise. The incident that occurred in this very room occurred on December 27th, 2018. And it involves a Los Angeles public figure by the name of Chris Burrous, very well known on the news, local news. And what happened in this room is pretty incredible, I have to say. It was beyond anything I'd ever read. I shouldn't say that, but it's pretty out there. And I thought worthy of this video of explaining it. And before I go any further into depth of what happened in this room, be aware, it's graphic. There are situations involving adults that happen in this room that are descriptive, could be disturbing, very out there, and fascinating. So be aware, you're going to hear graphic details. I'm not embellishing. These are just the facts of what happened in the room. This is the detective's summarization, and it does say in here the investigation into the incident is ongoing and the information is subject to change. But this is the original summary by the detective from the Glendale Police Department. This death was reported to our office on the 27th of December 2018 at 2:30 p.m. by hospital personnel. It was reported that the decedent met with a male friend at a local motel for an apparent tryst. The tryst is in quotes. The decedent was apparently engaged in intercourse with a bondage apparatus, a mask that contained amyl nitrate, poppers. A substance believed to be methamphetamine was simultaneously inserted into the decedent's. 911 was called and the decedent was transported to the emergency room where he died. The hospital was the Glendale Adventist Medical Center in Glendale, California. So he was transported from the hospital to the Forensic Science Center, and the attendants are named here. Fingerprint return found no record. The place of injury, the Days Inn, which is now the Glendale Express. I swear we didn't ask for this room. The guy said 608, and I thought, well, maybe I knew it was a 60 number, which is sort of funny, but we are in the room. And let's see, the investigation is ongoing. The decedent checked into this room in person and alone. He met his male companion through a dating site, Grindr, and set up this meeting. Reportedly, the decedent and his companion had met up 4 previous times. The companion arrived to the room at 12:30 p.m., knocked, and was led into the room by the decedent. That's Christopher, who was described as being nude. His companion described the room as being set up with lighting, S&M toys, lubrication jelly, and a massage bench. The decedent and his companion reportedly engaged in various forms of sexual activity, including sex. The decedent then inserted a rock of crystal meth in his and stated it was supposed to make him high and loose. The decedent then gave his companion a full syringe of GHB in a bottle of Gatorade. The decedent and his companion continued their sexual activities, and the decedent then inserted a second rock of crystal meth into his. The companion described inserting his hand. What? Sorry. The companion described inserting his hand into the decedent's before the decedent decided to also put on a mask. The mask had 2 cloth filters on the side and a rubber portion that completely covered the nose and mouth. The decedent poured poppers. Can you imagine? on the cloth filters of this mask and placed it on his face. The decedent positioned himself face down into a pillow while his companion continued to insert his hand into his. The companion said he checked with the decedent numerous times to make sure he was okay. Each time the decedent stated that he was, until the last time when he only made a grunting noise. The companion turned the decedent over and noticed they had vomited into the mask. He searched the internet for an overdose hotline, and he was advised to call 911. I wonder if that's the same phone that's over there. The companion performed CPR on the bed. Well, they obviously didn't tell him to take him off the bed, but on the bed prior to paramedic arrival. Once paramedics arrived, the decedent was transported to the hospital. He died in the emergency room, so he didn't die actually in this room. But he may as well have, I suppose. The decedent's companion was cooperative with the police. He told them he was unaware the decedent was a news anchor. He reportedly met the decedent 6 months ago on Grindr, which is a dating app. The decedent had consumed crystal meth in front of him during their past encounters, but had never used the mask before. He stated he did not smoke methamphetamine with the decedent. Now this has a blanked name, but I'm guessing this is his spouse that was being talked with the detective. Blank name gave me the following information. The decedent does not have a history of drug abuse or alcoholism. When told about some of his activities, she stated he possibly only used drugs recreationally. She was not suspicious of him being an addict, nor did he exhibit behavior of being a habitual drug user. The decedent went to work today, that's the 27th of December, and was supposed to go to a work meeting at noon. He told her he was going. Once she realized he was missing, she contacted his employer and was told by coworkers that he left the meeting, stating he was feeling ill. She thought it was odd that he would have skipped the meeting as it was important for his career. She last spoke to him at noon. Gosh, that didn't take long. When told briefly about the decedent's activity, she stated he used to, quote, go to clubs in the past, but stated he was not interested in that anymore. She said he did have a history of high risk-taking behavior, He lost a significant amount of weight in the last year and was not on any medication. There is no medical history. The medical record had the following information. The decedent was admitted to the hospital at 1:55 p.m., hours after being brought in by ambulance. He was brought in full arrest and with CPR being performed. Ventilation was given through a bag valve mask before he was intubated at 13:59 hours. Despite administration and medication and continuous CPR, the decedent was pronounced dead in the ER, in the emergency room, at 14:06 in the afternoon, 2:06 p.m. So, wow. It's just a coincidence we ended up in this room. I swear to God. It was like, anyway, wow. That's a colorful story. I'll go through the results of the autopsy report later. This would have been, well, I doubt they probably even opened up this curtain. From the view on the balcony, we were trying to isolate where the room was from the outside because it was above the pool. So we kind of scoped it out, and Troy pulled the car around, and we were able to establish exactly which room it was.
See you later, room.
I'm heading down to the lobby from the room now, which is probably where the paramedics took Burrous down to the ambulance out in front of the building. So this is the route they would have taken them on the gurney.
So they would have put the, what do you call it? The gurney in here. I'd have to be careful coming out. It'd be really rude to have a camera in someone's face. This is one? Thank you. Thank you. Hello. I left my key in my room. Okay? All right, thank you. 608. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, that was a mistruth, along with the autopsy report that I took with me, which clearly states the days in, now the Glendale Express, room 608. Here are the keys for room 608 and my parking space pass for the day. So I kept something.
So the ambulance would have been right here. The autopsy report has more details about the description of the room itself. It says that because there were photographs taken, and the detective had a CD that he gave to the medical examiner with the photographs on it. The room number is shown as 608. A plastic bin with a lid, handle, and presumably on wheels is seen in the room, along with a cooler, another compartmentalized cloth container or bag, and a bench with arm and leg rests and a face cradle cushion. That would be the massage table. The bench appeared to have a shiny residue on the body portion, a speaker, compact DJ style lighting, multiple jars of lubrication jelly, electrical tape, a knit ski mask. These are consenting adults, just be aware. And various toys were seen scattered around the room. Glass pipes with brown residue, bottles labeled Amsterdam, described as poppers, a white plastic bottle described as containing GHB, a lighter, and a syringe were seen around the room. A pillow with brown residue was seen on the floor. The evidence collected was a filtration mask and metallic toy that arrived at the Forensic Science Center with the decedent. The Glendale Police Department collected the drug paraphernalia at the scene. Now, when they did the exam, the actual, the dissecting exam, there wasn't a whole lot that they found, actually. There's no major red flags, though it showed up later on that he had heart issues. Respiratory system, scant secretions are found in the upper respiratory and lower bronchial passages. There's no evidence of pulmonary infarction. The gastrointestinal system, this was interesting. The esophagus is intact throughout. The surface shows a thin layer of clear jelly-like material, and the rectal serosal, just the surface of the rectum, and associated soft tissue show diffuse hemorrhage. The mucosa of the rectum is slightly reddened or inflamed. There were representative sections from various organs are preserved in a storage jar. Toxicology, there was samples of heart, blood, gastric contents, urine, and other fluids submitted to the laboratory. And what they found in that, they tested for a lot of different drugs, and fentanyl didn't show up, methadone, cocaine, nothing like that showed up, opiates, no. The only thing that showed up consistently in the blood and the femoral blood and the heart blood and the methamphetamine. That's what shows up. The summary of the incident. This 43-year-old man, Christopher Rocky Burrous, died of methamphetamine toxicity. Hypersensitive and arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease also significantly contributed to death. According to reports, Mr. Burrous was with a companion in the hotel. He was engaged in various activities with his companion. And, well, we went through all the other stuff about the insertion once and twice and where he put them. The mask was doused and with the filters were doused with poppers. Poppers, if you don't know, I mean, it's amyl nitrate or butyl nitrate, and you smell it and it gives you a head rush. That's what it is. And it's like an euphoric thing.
One thing I wanted to clarify, you used to be able to buy these things in bars. I don't know if you still can, but it was illegal to sell them as these enhancers, poppers, to get this head rush. So they were sold as incense, they were sold as leather cleaner, they were sold as video head cleaner. To get away with selling it legally, they would market it under that category. I've heard.
People use them to enhance physical activities, dancing, stuff like that. It just you smell it, and it gives you probably 30 seconds or a minute worth of this sort of head rush, like if you stand up too fast. But in this case, this is used for your pleasure. So I can't imagine dousing 2 filters of a mask and having that inhaled. I can't imagine. I mean, one sniff of that stuff could give you. It feels like it can give you an aneurysm or something. But so I can't imagine that intense of an experience. I just can't. That's pretty hardcore. So and the toxicology revealed methamphetamine, and so ultimately that's his cause of death: methamphetamine toxicity, hypertensive and arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease, recreational usage, death by misadventure, really. So that is the story of Christopher Burrous. Sad story. An admirable man and a very dignified career, and you never know. You never know what happens behind closed doors. And again, like the woman said at the beginning, at the end of the day, this is a public figure and this is of public interest. So thank you for hanging in there with me. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your attention. Be careful, and until next time.
You heard me.